friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome to my spring TBR. I have seen several different people posting their spring TBRs and I really wanted to hop on the train and share with you guys some books that I would like to read in the season of spring. I have 20 books here. That's very ambitious, but this is just like if I could get to all of these books, that would be amazing. If not, then I would like to try. Some of these books are higher on the priority list than others, and some of them I'm just really excited to get around to, so hopefully I can do so ASAP. So I have 20 books, lots of stuff to talk about, so let's go ahead and just jump into it. Before I start, I would love to know down below what you guys have on your spring TBR, or if you guys do seasonal TBRs, and if you don't, what are some books that are higher on your priority list that you really want to get to? So without further ado, let's talk about the 20 books that I would like to read in the season of spring. These are in no particular order. The first one that I have here is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I did read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I really would love to read The Seven Husbands. I think that I've heard so many good things about this that I would just love to know what all the hype is about. Plus, Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with another book very, very soon called Malibu Rising, and I would really love to read that one as well, but I would love to read this one first. So I don't actually know the whole synopsis of this. I know that it is about Evelyn Hugo, her life, and I believe she's a Hollywood starlet, and it's about her 7 husbands and the impact that they had on her during her lifetime. So I'm really excited to give this one a go. I've heard nothing but good things. Hopefully I love it. Okay, up next is a book that has been on my 5-star prediction list since I filmed it last year, and I would really love to finally get around to reading it, and that is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I cannot say that I'm excited to read this book because everyone that I've heard talk about it said that it's very dark, very heavy, and very hard to read. I did read the first 2 chapters of this at one point and ended up putting it down because I just wasn't in the headspace to read at the time, but I do really want to give this one a go. I do think that this could end up potentially being a favorite of the year. And I really think that it's going to be very hard-hitting and very impactful, but I just have to finally get myself in the mood. I wouldn't say in the mood, but in the right headspace to read it. So this follows a woman who is now in her, I believe, mid-30s, and it's flashing back between the now timeline and the then timeline when she was in high school, and she had this relationship with her teacher, and at the time she didn't think that there was anything wrong with it, but now in the present timeline there is somebody that is accusing this teacher of putting this student in a very harmful and inappropriate relationship, and she now has to question the relationship that she had with this same individual, and was it healthy and was it appropriate, and the feelings that she has towards it, and the realization that what he did to her was wrong. And so, like I said, a very hard-hitting topic, but I have heard really amazing things, so I definitely want to give this one a go. All right, up next is a bit of a genre change, but I would love to read Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This is one of Clint from Reads Reader's favorite books, and I really, really want to give it a go. It's been on my wish list for forever, and thank you so much to Clint for gifting me this because I do really want to read it. I know that it is set in the past. I know that it follows a girl who, her father is, I believe, in the morgue business, and she's not usually the person that would handle that type of thing because women of this time aren't supposed to be doing that, but she is very involved in his business, and it's right around the time when Jack the Ripper starts to murder his victims, and she wants to figure out who Jack the Ripper is. And so I believe there's a little bit more to it than that. I heard there's a really good romance in here, so I'm really excited to give this one a go. I've heard some mixed reviews, but mostly I've heard good things, so let's hope that I love it as much as everyone else, and I'm really excited to give this one a go. I also need some light, fluffy reads during the spring, so I'm hoping to read You Should See Me in a Crown by Leigh Johnson. This is a book that I was supposed to pick up last year, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. I've heard that it's so wholesome and beautiful and cute, and it is a sapphic romance, which I'm really, really excited to get around to reading. And this follows a girl named Liz who, she is not very well off, and she's really, really pushing to go to college, but when her scholarship falls through, she's struggling to figure out how she's going to make it there. But she finds out that the winner of prom, so the prom queen, gets a scholarship, and she is now going to participate in the prom festivities to run for prom queen. But she also knows that there's a girl that is also running for prom queen that she has a crush on, and there seems to be a relationship that's bruise, I can't talk today, that happens between the two of them, and I'm really excited to give this one a go. I've heard this is really wholesome and beautiful. I believe I also got this as a gift, so let's see who sent this to me. It just says from a subscriber, so thank you to whoever sent this one over to me. I really appreciate it. I am really excited to give this one a go, and hopefully I can get around to it this spring. Up next, I would love to do a reread. I would love to reread The Anti-Relationship Year by Katie Wismer. I did beta read this for her back in December, and I have a good idea of what this story entails and how the ending of the story ends up, but I would love to reread it now that it is finally officially published and see what changes or non-changes that she made during her revision process. I really love this book. This follows the side character in her first book, The Anti-Virginity Pact. Her name is Jo, or Joanna, and it follows her new adult experience as she makes her way through college. And it does follow two timelines, her freshman year of college as well as her senior year of college. And the big difference that her life has taken, she ends up in a very interesting relationship, which I will not divulge because I feel like it is a bit of a spoiler, but it definitely impacts how she perceives the rest of her life and the rest of her college experience and how she perceives dating. And so it's a friends to lovers romance, and it's just so sweet. There's also some photography in here that was really awesome. I loved seeing that depicted on the page, and it was just so much fun to read. So I'm really excited to see how this comes together, and excited to give it a reread. So yes, there's this one. All right, here's another book that I've had on a TBR that I didn't get around to reading, but I've heard absolutely nothing but good things, and that is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I cannot wait to read this one. I've heard that this book has actually beat out a lot of people's favorite middle grade spot, which was first Nevermore, and now that this is their number one, and I'm shook by that because Nevermore is my favorite middle grade of all time, and if this is even better than that, I'm so excited to read it. But this follows Amari, who her brother is missing, but one day she finds a briefcase that he has left her that says that he is actually a part of this, I forget what it's called, Bureau of Affairs or something like that. And she is now on a hunt to figure out where her brother has gone and what a role he plays in this secret society type thing. But it definitely gives me Nevermore vibes. I've heard it also gives you Men in Black vibes, which I've heard that just makes me so excited. I'm really excited to read this book, and I'm excited for all of the wonderfulness that's going to come of it. I also love that it follows a Black main character. It's written by a Black author, so I'm loving the representation and really excited to give this one a go. Okay, up next I have another book that I was gifted, so thank you so much to Karina for gifting me this one, and I'm really hoping that I can read this one soon so that we can buddy read it together if she hasn't already read it. But that is A Dark and Hollow Star. This is by Ashley Shuttleworth, and this is a dark sapphic romance fantasy that I'm really, really excited to give a go. I mean, this cover is absolutely stunning. On the back it says her fate was now up to her, and if the oh so powerful deities weren't brave enough to destroy her, she was going to make them regret letting her discover just how satisfying it is to watch them burn. So that just sounds amazing, and it's queer and it's a dark fantasy, and I want all of it. So I'm hoping that I can get around to this one soon, but it is quite a chunky baby, so we'll see. I already filmed my TBR in advance for the month of May, and I know that I have a ton of chunky books on that TBR, so I don't know quite when I will be able to get around to it. I swear I can speak English, but I am really excited to read it nonetheless. Up next, we have a quite a different contemporary. I feel like the contemporaries that I picked up this time around are quite sad, but I'm just gonna roll with it. We have Room by Emma Donoghue. This follows a woman who is kidnapped, and she ends up becoming pregnant during her time of captivity, and she is raising a child in this small room, and this follows the perspective of the child that is growing up in this room that has been his whole life, his whole world, and he, doesn't see anything wrong with the situation that he's in, but time comes when the mother is just fed up with this, and she is trying to look for a way out to give her child a better life. And this just sounds like it's going to be absolutely amazing, very hard-hitting, and I've heard nothing but good things about this one, so I'm really hoping that I love it. I mentioned this in my haul last month, and some of the people that were talking about it in the comments said that they really loved it as well. So really excited for this one. Hopefully I can get around to it soon. Up next, we have a sequel and the conclusion of a series that I would really love to finish up, and that is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the first book in A Curse of Dark and Lonely series, and I really loved the first one. Didn't love the second one. I still enjoyed it, but I didn't absolutely love it, and I'm really excited for the third book. I believe that all of the characters are going to be in it this time, and I'm really excited to see how Bridget Kemmerer decides to wrap up this conclusion. There's a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of things that are on the fence, and I'm really excited to see what she does with the series. I really enjoyed the characters and the romances, so I'm really intrigued to see where this is going to go. Hopefully I love it as much as I enjoyed the rest of the series. Alright, up next I have a middle grade book that I would love to read, and that is Black Brother, Black Brother by Jewel Parker Rhodes. I actually don't really remember the synopsis of this too much, but I am really excited to give this a go. It says, "Sitting, I stare at the black specks on the white linoleum. A metaphor. That is what they're teaching me in English. Metaphor. Except I won't believe I'm just a black speck. I'm bigger. More than that, though sometimes I feel like I'm swimming in whiteness." So I believe that this is a story of two brothers. One of them is black, one of them is white, and they're just trying to figure out where they stand in the world. I've heard nothing but good things about this one, so hopefully I really enjoy it, and I would like to read some more middle grade. I tend not to read a ton of it throughout the year, so I'm hoping that this will give me another push to read some more middle grade. Alright, up next, another sad contemporary, and that is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I have heard nothing but good things about this author. I own pretty much every single one of his books, aside from 2, and I haven't read a single book by him. So I really need to hop on that train and read some more Bachman, or read some Bachman, because I haven't read any. But I've heard really good things about this one. This follows a small ice hockey town. It's a very small town, and the town kind of gets ripped apart when there are some accusations of sexual assault that's running rampant in this town. And so the town seems to split into on whose side they believe, and it's just a story of how one small, well, I wouldn't say that's small, but how one thing can really disrupt the town and the impact that it has on the people that live there. So really excited to give this one a go. Definitely a lot of harder topics that I'm reading about recently, but hopefully I enjoy this one. I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm ready to have a good cry, so let's do it. Okay, up next we have Lover Unbound by J.R. Ward. I believe this is the next book that I need to read in the series. This follows Vicious, and I'm really excited to give this one a go. I love the series so far. I believe this is book 5, and this follows a species of vampire, and they have this group called the Black Dagger Brotherhood. It involves the king, who he looks over all of the vampire species, but it's also a core group of people who are a part of the Black Dagger Brotherhood that are tasked with keeping this species alive and thriving. And each book follows a different member from the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and it's very smutty, fated mate romance stories that I very much enjoy. Now that I'm 5 books in, I really love all of the characters, and I love that throughout the books you still get snippets of the other characters and their relationships as the story progresses. The 4th book wasn't my favorite. It did follow a character that I didn't absolutely love, but I did enjoy his storyline. But I'm really excited because Vicious is one of the people that I really wanted to read from, so I'm really hoping to get around to this one ASAP. Up next, we have a romance, and this is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Sally Thorne is coming out with a new book. It's her 3rd book, and I do really want to read this one. However, as much as people love this book, it is very, very overhyped in my opinion. This is one of those books that I've been scared to pick up because it is so overhyped, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to love it as much as everyone else seems to. But this follows a hate-to-love romance with... My neighbors are so loud. With... two people that work in the same office building that are going for the same promotion, and so somehow in the throw of all of that they end up in a relationship, and I'm really excited to read it. I'm just nervous that I'm not going to love it as much as everyone else, so cross my fingers that I do, but I do need some good romance in my life during the spring, so hopefully this is one of them. Then we have 2 graphic novels that I would love to continue the series in. The first one being Paper Girls by I believe this is by Brian K. Vaughan. Yes. This is the 2nd book in a very weird and interesting sci-fi graphic novel. Why can't I think today? This follows girls, I believe, in the 80s or 70s or 80s that are paper girls. So they run on the paper route and they throw newspapers on people's houses. And during one of their paper routes, a huge alien invasion happens and they are just trying to stay alive. And the 2nd book ends off on quite a cliffhanger, so I'm really interested to see how the 2nd book goes. Did I say the 2nd book? I meant the 1st book. But anyways, the art style in here is very beautiful. I love the color hues in here. It's just really, really gorgeous. There's a lot of pinks and purples and just everything that I love in graphic novel style, so I'm really excited to read this one. And then the other graphic novel also happens to be by Brian K. Vaughan, but I would really love to read Saga Volume 2. This was on my TBR for... I don't remember when, a couple months ago, and I didn't end up getting around to reading it, so shame on me, but I am really excited to give the 2nd one a go. I can't really show you guys a ton of detail in this one, seeing as it is the 2nd one, and it does have a lot of violence as well as nudity, but here is some idea of the art style. The characters in here are really awesome. This is a Romeo and Juliet sci-fi retelling of these 2 people that are on different sides of the war that come together and fall in love and have a baby, and the series is told from the little girl's perspective. And I'm really excited to give the 2nd one a go. The 1st one, again, left off on a cliffhanger, so I'm really excited to continue on with the series. All right, we're getting to the end here, I promise. The next book that I want to talk about is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This is the prequel to The Hate U Give. This follows Mav, who is Star's dad, and it follows his coming-of-age story when he finds out that he's going to be a dad and what he's willing to give up to make sure that his kids and his family are taken care of. I've heard really good things about this one. I've actually heard that a lot of people liked it more than The Hate U Give, so I'm really excited to give this one a go, and I'm really excited to see what topics that Angie Thomas decides to talk about in this book, especially because a lot of her books do deal with some pretty heavy topics that surround the Black community, so I'm really excited to give this one a go. All right, up next we have a book that I would love to read so I can continue on with the series, and that is Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Miss Maas, and I'm sad that I still haven't gotten too far into the Throne of Glass series. This is the fourth book, if you count the prequel book, Assassin's Blade, and I'm really excited to continue on with the series. The third book left off on a huge cliffhanger, so I'm really excited to finally give this one a go and get back on the series. I noticed that I tend to read one book and then wait a ton of time between the next book that I pick up, and I'm really hoping to like not do that, because when I read the third book last time, I was really kind of lost. So I feel like I have to keep the series up so I don't miss out on the information. So really hoping to get to this one soon. Hopefully I can read it in the next couple of months, and I'm really excited to continue on with the series, seeing as this is pretty much the rest of the books that I have to read by her, and then I'll be done. So that's exciting. All right, up next we have Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I absolutely loved It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I'm really excited to give another one of her books a go. I decided to pick up another sad contemporary romance because the first one that I read by her was a sad contemporary romance, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm really thinking that I'm going to love this one. I actually don't know what the synopsis is on this book, but I am really excited to give it a go. I've heard that you're just gonna cry, ugly crying, along with the ugly love. So I'm really hoping that I love it. On the back here it says, hearts get infiltrated, promises get broken, rules get shattered, and love gets ugly. So that sounds amazing. Hopefully I love it. All right, the last two books are very, very different, but I am really excited for both of them nonetheless. The first one I have here is Felix Ever After by Case and Callender. I do really, really want to read this one, and I'm hoping that I can get around to this one. I'm planning to read this one in June for Pride Month. I have a whole Pride TBR planned for that month, and I'm hoping that this will be one of them, and I am really, really, really excited to give this one a go. I think that it's going to be absolutely amazing. This follows a trans boy named Felix who is having a tough time in high school when some bullying picks up, and his dead name is plastered all over school, and he is really just trying to figure out where he fits in this world, as well as finds a nice fan family group of friends that help him through it. So I've heard really good things, and I'm hoping that I love it as much as everyone else seems to. And the very last book that I want to read is another chunky baby, but this is a book that Sharon has been telling me that I have to read like ASAP. And this is a book that has been on Book Talk, on BookTube, on Instagram, everywhere. So it's about time that I pick it up, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is a fantasy romance that has to do with a girl named Poppy who is basically like, I believe, a maiden, and she has been forbidden from touch and any sexual anything, or like even being with a man, but things change when she meets somebody. That's pretty much all I know. It's a very vague description of what's happening. I've basically just heard other people synopsis this book. My lord. Other people sum up this book, and I'm still kind of confused on what the paranormal aspect of this is, but I've heard that it's a spoiler, so hopefully I will love it as much as everyone else seems to. I've heard really good things, so I'm hoping that I love it, but we'll have to see. That is it. That is all 20 books that I would like to read in the spring season. Hopefully I can get around to a lot of them, if not all of them. I doubt that I'm going to be able to get through all of them, but I'm going to give my darndest try, I promise. Please let me know down below if you guys have read any of the books on this list, or if you're excited to read them. I would love to know. But that is the end of this video. I really, really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And of course, leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!